Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is R.C. Blakes, and I want to welcome you back once again to another Let's Talk with R.C. Blakes. Please invite, looking at the wrong camera, please invite some others to come in and to be a part of our conversation tonight. This is going to be a good one. I really prayed about what should I talk to you about tonight. You know, we've been in South Africa, me and Lisa, and along with the church family and some of our digital community. Many of you that are part of, some of you that are part of our royal court and what have you. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself there. That's why you see me sporting my South African attire. But tonight we're talking about how to recognize when you're dealing with a man that is intentional about you. You're dealing with a man that's intentional about you. I was just at my dentist today, and she was telling me about one of her daughters that she's concerned about, who's dating a guy nearly as old as I am. And she's more than half his age. And he's traveling and what have you to all of these different places, and he never brings her. Serious red flag. It's a red flag on fire. Because when a man is intentional about you, he includes you. And he wants the world to know that you exist, and that you exist in his orbit, and that you belong to him. And so I said to her, you need me to talk to her? I will, because she clearly needs a father-daughter talk. Now, this subject is so important because in the course of a day, a woman may encounter at least 4 kinds of men. You'll find the man that engages you for the purpose of simply rejecting you. And the reason he rejects you is because his hope is that when he drops you, that he breaks you, and that you're irreparable, therefore leaving you subject to his whims for sometimes the rest of your life. It's usually the narcissist. If you don't have my book, Me, My Mind, go and get it from Amazon, Biblical Perspectives on Narcissistic Abuse. Then you have the guy that is respectful. He deals with you respectfully. He engages you, but he's dealing with you respectfully. He doesn't necessarily feel you or see a future or anything like that, but he deals with you respectfully. And sometimes the respect that he has for you can be misread as serious interest. And sometimes this guy, not knowing how to let you down, just kind of disappears. And then you have the guy that just flat out deceives you. He comes in, he acts like he loves you, he says all of the right things, and he's a fraud. He's just a deceiver. He's just clearly a deceiver. You thought you had one thing, and it turned out to be something altogether different. But then the fourth guy is the guy that deals with you intentionally. He sees you. He recognizes your value. He knows that he wants you in his life. He views you as a wife based on your character, your behavior, your presentation, and he deals with you intentionally. Now, this framework that I'm getting ready to unpack for you tonight details how an intentional man's character unfolds in action. First, in pursuing you as a wife, and then in loving you as a husband. The intentional man, let's get some definition. What is an intentional man? The intentional man actively builds a foundation of trust and security through his words, his behavior, and his character. His character, his words, and his behavior are all integrated. He's the same guy publicly that he is privately. He's the same guy on the outside that he is on the inside. What he says, he follows through on concerning you because he is intentional. You don't have to imagine or fabricate in your own mind that, he loves me or he's this or he's that. You don't have to look over stuff. There's nothing to look over. This guy is intentional about you. And so tonight, my aim is to help you to understand what this guy looks like and hopefully to help you to better discern an intentional man when you find one. Now, let me say this before I get started. You will never encounter an intentional man as long as your life is preoccupied with one of the previous three. If you got a man that's just completely deceptive and you know he's a deceiver and you're wishing and praying for him to change, honey, save your breath. You can't change nobody. You got a man that's just respectful and he's never given you any inclination, never told you that he views you as this or that, and he's, slow your roll. Stop running a man down. Let the man clarify what it is. If you're allowing your life to be preoccupied with men that are clearly not intentional about you, you will never leave space for an intentional man to actually show up. This is why I don't want to hear this stuff about there are no great men out here. There are very few women that are available for a great man. Because your life, even as you type this stuff and you say this stuff, there are no great men. You are entertaining every day and every night a man that you know is not the one. And you're praying for God to send you the one. Why would God send you his best son when you are clearly giving your life away to one that God has not ordained? Why would God do that to his son? Just like God loves you as his daughter, he loves a good man as his son. There are great men. There are just very few women that are even available to receive them. Praise the Lord. Let me move on from that. Number one, the intentional man. What is this? How does this guy behave? What are his characteristics? Number one, the intentional man is the guy that intentionally calms your nervous system. He is the guy that intentionally calms your nervous system. He loves you and he learns you, and he behaves accordingly because his intent is to calm your nervous system. He learns your background. He learns your trauma. He learns your history. And he calms your nervous. He's the guy that you feel safe around. You feel comfortable around because he's intentional about making you feel safe. He is a source of peace in your life. He's a source of safety. Watch this. He's highly predictable. Now you got to hear this next statement. Because he's highly predictable, The intentional man may challenge the unresolved trauma in you, because the unresolved trauma in you will categorize him as boring because he's predictable, because he's peaceful, because he's safe. And you will find yourself rejecting the intentional man and leaning toward the deceiver, because the deceiver is exciting, unpredictable, everything your trauma feeds on. And even though your trauma hurts you the most, it's what you know best. So sometimes you're not even personally healed enough to receive an intentional man. You need the unpredictability, or is that the right way to say it? Just the hot and cold, just all over the place. You need that for your trauma, for your dysfunction. But in a dating culture filled with ambiguity and inconsistency, the intentional man is steady. And it's his steady, non-anxious presence that helps to regulate your stress and creates an environment where trust can flourish. You see, healthy relationships are boring to people who are not healed. When you find an intentional man, he's going to regulate your stress. He's going to create an environment where trust can flourish. This is the first step in building true emotional safety, because the intentional man is intentional about creating an environment for you where there is emotional safety. You have to be healed enough and whole enough to be able to respect and appreciate that kind of man. Listen to what the Bible says in Galatians 5:22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. When a man comes from God, and when a man is God's choice for you, he will bear the evidence of the fruit of the Spirit in the relationship. Watch this, his own personal spiritual grounding allows him to be a conduit of God's peace into your life. This is why, and this is just me, okay? This is just me. As a Christian, and I know everybody's not a Christian, but as a Christian, this is why I believe the first question a woman should ask of a man is, what is your real relationship with Jesus Christ? Because the Bible says that a man will not be able to love you, or a man should be able to love you rather, as Christ loved the church. If a man has no relationship with Christ, it's highly possible that he does not possess the character of Christ, which is fundamental to that man being the kind of intentional, safe space that a woman would need to submit her life to as a wife. 1 Corinthians 13:5 says, love is not easily angered. And I think it's verse 7 that goes on and says, love always protects. So the intentional guy is the one that calms your nervous system intentionally. You know, you're pulling your hair out, you're all over the place, you're frantic, you're nervous, you're stressed out. An intentional man comes into your life with the intention of creating an environment for you that you can finally exhale. Let's see. Where am I going here? Gary Gottman, or Dr. John Gottman, rather. I don't know why what's wrong with me? Dr. John Gottman, his research on what he calls bidirectional calming shows that secure partners help regulate each other's nervous systems. A man's consistent, gentle responsiveness is foundational to creating safety for his woman. And why is this important? It's important because a woman will not be able to sit in her femininity unless she's in or until she's in an environment where she is emotionally and physically and financially safe. So the intentional man, with the aim of putting his woman in a position to be her best version and to allow her to sit in her dominant energy, which is feminine, is intentional. He is intentional about calming her nervous system, especially when he knows that she's had a traumatic past. I'm very intentional about creating a safe space for my wife. Very, very, very intentional. Because the trauma she went through as a child. I mean, a woman lives with that for the rest of her life. And she has to have a husband that is sensitive to that and intentionally creates a space where, her nervous system can calm. Sometimes I'm effective, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes she just has to go through her own process, depending on whatever the moment is. But I'm always in a posture where I'm trying my best to help her to regulate those emotions. And even in the dating process, you have to pay attention to how a man impacts your nervous system. I know you move by how he make you tingle. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You feeling for him making you tingle, but at the same time, while you're tingling, you're anxious, you're nervous, you're frustrated. Number two, the intentional guy, he intentionally clears the woman's mind of questions. How does he do this? By answering them. He's not a guy that skates around questions, chalks it up to, oh, I'm a guy, I can't talk that much. I don't like talking. No. He's a man that wants to intentionally clear the woman's mind of questions because he sees a future with this woman. If a man is not answering your questions, he does not see a future with you, probably beyond the bed. If he does not respect you enough to answer your questions, if he knows that you have concerns and things that you need clarity on and he's not providing that clarity, that man he doesn't respect you, and he does not really see you as a part of his life in any real way. He proactively communicates with clarity and honesty, not all of these lies. And sometimes you want a relationship so bad, this man done told you 4 different lies he forgot, and you looking over it. That's called desperation, my dear. That is what that is called. That is called desperation. This man has told you 4 different lies about the same thing, and he forgot. He's so dumb he don't even remember how to keep his lies together. At least when I was out there as a youngster lying, I kept a pad where I would write my lies down. This dummy don't even write his lies down. And you looking over it. But when a man is intentional about you, he clears your mind by answering questions. He replaces confusion, doubt, watch this, and mind reading. That's where you at right now. In this little situationship you got, you trying to make this into something. You trying to force this man to come to your family for Christmas. This man don't want to come to your family. This man don't have no plans of being nothing to you other than somebody in the middle of the bed. That's all. But you trying to force something You trying to be a mind reader. You trying to figure out what is he. See, an intentional man is not going to allow you to even be in a position of having to read his mind. He's going to speak it freely, clearly, consistently. He's going to speak it freely, clearly, consistently. Freely, clearly, consistently. What he told you last month, he's going to tell you again this month. What he's telling you this month, he's going to tell you 6 months from now. What he's telling you 6 months from now, he's going to tell you a year from now. You can test him on that because he's intentional. He wants to make something serious of this. He's going to be transparent about his intentions, his feelings, and his expectation. Watch this. He's going to oftentimes be transparent about these things before you even have a chance to ask. This eliminates the anxiety of the unknown. He doesn't want any anxiety in your life. And it honors you with truth. Greatest gift a man can give you is truth. The Bible puts it this way in Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 25. The Bible says, therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor. Well, this man lives by this. He speaks truthfully to you. Why? Because he respects you. Why? He's trying to build a foundation for an authentic future. And honesty is the non-negotiable bedrock of a godly union. See, Lisa reaches across me and she grabs my phone when she needs it for whatever reason, takes my phone all the time. I don't ever say, oh, what you reaching for my phone for? I ain't got nothing to hide. Because honesty is the non-negotiable bedrock of a godly union. See, and I was in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and a young lady, I'm 61 years old. This lady didn't even know who I was. A young lady wrote her phone number down on the back of a receipt, looked me in my eye and said to me, call me, give me a call. This was a South African woman based on her accent. And I thought it was funny, Lisa wasn't there, but I told her about it. Because when a man is intentional about you, I like the way the young lady, I forget her name, Dr. Bryant, I think it's Cheyenne Bryant. She's a brilliant lady. Now, some people, take issue with whatever, but the woman is brilliant. Seriously. She said something powerful, and I don't know if it originates with her, but I agree with it. Said she'd rather have a man that is transparent versus a man that's honest. A man that's honest is a man that'll tell you the truth if you ask him. A man that's transparent is going to tell you a truth that you would have never known to have to ask him about. Well, an intentional man is a transparent man because he understands that honesty is the non-negotiable bedrock of a godly union. I could have never said that to Lisa. I could have never told her about that. I mean, it didn't matter. It didn't mean anything to me. I didn't even look at the number. In fact, I told her it's on the receipt in probably one of the bags. Because an intentional man is honest. He's not only honest, but he's transparent. He's going to tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth because his intent is always to keep you in a position where you are respected and never dishonored. He clears your mind of any questions that you have or questions that you may have. 1 Corinthians 13 and 6 says, love rejoices with the truth. Gary Chapman notes that after the initial, watch this, in love phase, intentional love takes over the kind that sees, sacrifices, and stays consistent. Clear communication is the primary marker of this intentionality. Number three, the intentional guy will cultivate your confidence. He's going to cultivate your confidence to the point that sometimes he may get on your nerves because he'll be pushing you and believing in you. You know, sometimes I get on Lisa's nerves because I'm like, you know, and sometimes I back off and I let her, you know, because the intentional guy doesn't only want you in his life to support him, he wants to be able to support your dream. He wants you to believe in your personal goals and vision and ambitions. And he is the greatest cheerleader of your confidence. It's not just the woman that cheers the man on. The man takes the pom-poms and cheers for the woman as well when he's intentional about her being his wife. He actively affirms your worth. He affirms your strengths. He affirms your potential. And this goes way beyond just mere compliments. It is about being a mirror that reflects your true value as an image bearer of God, encouraging your gifts, encouraging your dreams, that you might what? Flourish as an individual, not just as his wife, but as an individual, as a standalone individual. He cultivates your confidence. He makes you believe in yourself in ways that no one's ever made you believe in yourself. And this happens in the dating phase. He begins to, you notice certain guys will speak into your life and they will speak life into you. They will build your confidence up. And these are the guys you say, oh, he's a nice guy. He's great. He loves God. He's a great earner. He's good looking, but he's boring. That's your trauma talking, dear. That's your trauma talking. That's your trauma talking you out of husband material. That's your trauma drawing you to that man that's going to bring you through the ringer. That's your trauma moving away from safety, moving towards unpredictability. Low self-esteem, drained self-worth. You're going to move away from the man that's going to pour into your confidence. You want the guy that's going to break you down. Hebrews 10:24 says, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds. The intentional guy is spurring you on to higher heights. He's making you see yourself differently, believe in yourself differently, because he feels called in your life to be a catalyst for your growth. You see, I feel responsible for the growth of my wife. I have a responsibility to support my wife's growth and development. Not to be a tyrant, not to be a taskmaster, but absolutely to be a cheerleader, a cultivator, like a good gardener, you know, a farmer. Ephesians 4:2 says, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love. Cultivation requires the patience of a gardener. You got to pull the weeds when you see them popping up. You got to water that thing. Come on now. Hallelujah. You got to fertilize it. That's what a good man will do for you. A good man that is intentional is going to cultivate your confidence. Chapman also teaches that when a person's emotional love tank is full through consistent love, they become more confident, motivated, and emotionally secure. You can always tell a woman that's in the care of an intentional man that loves her properly. You can look at a woman and tell when she's loved well. Her confidence goes through the roof. She ain't walking around looking on the ground, can't look you in the eye and all this kind of stuff. No, her man has poured and cultivated her confidence in such a way that she walks into rooms as an equivalent. That's something her man does for her. It's an honor for a man to speak life into his woman. Number four, what does the intentional guy do? He covers her needs and safety. He covers his woman's needs and safety. I was back here in the studio that I'm in right now the other day, and Lisa was suffering from jet lag. And so she sent me a text, and the text said, when you're done, I need your help. And I immediately got up and I went down the hall to where she was. And she was concerned about my and her eating, but jet lag had her in such a state that she could not drive and she could not stand up at the stove and cook. And so she wanted to know if I felt up to driving. She initially was going to get in the car with me, but I could tell she was worn out. And so I said, no, you stay there. I'll go get it. You see, because when a man is intentional about you, he covers your needs. So when we start talking about a man that is a provider, that's not just about money. A lot of folk, get all in a tizzy about the provision part. That's not just about money, because if a man won't give you money, he's certainly not going to give you time. Time is the most valuable thing on the planet. Money is just paper. But he's definitely not going to give you time. He's not going to inconvenience himself for you if he won't give you a few dollars. Money's just somewhat of a base barometer. But a man that is intentional, he practically anticipates and provides for his woman's well-being. This covering is a posture of stewardship, noticing her needs, because if I love you, I learn you. Ensuring her safety and handling difficulties for her. It is the practical outworking of treating her concerns as his own. I am not only providing for my wife's life with me, I am also providing for my wife's life without me. If I should die before her, my wife is going to be fine. She won't have to depend on nobody for anything. Because when a man is a husband, he's a provider. In your presence, out of your living or dead, he's a provider. I say to every young man, especially while you're young, get a life insurance policy for your wife and for your children, that when you leave here, you will be providing for them even in your absence. That's the heart of a husband, of an intentional man. So if a man is sitting around here arguing about who you pay half the Red Lobster bill and I pay half, we got a long ways to go to get him to a point where he's talking about, trying to secure $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, however much he can afford, the kind of policy to provide after he's gone. I've heard men say stupid stuff like, I'm not going to provide no money for her to be spending with another man after I'm gone. You mean tell me woman give you children in all her life and you're not going to make provision for her in your absence? Oh my God. An intentional man covers your needs and your safety. This shows up even in the dating process. He'll make statements like, let me know, text me as soon as you get home. Let me know when you're inside. XYZ. You're riding in an Uber. He'll say something like, let's talk on the phone, put it on speakerphone while you're driving, and just kind of mention where you're at, how close you are, name streets and all of this. So we can make certain that the person driving you knows that there's somebody that's checking on you and concerned about you. That's not control. That's not him, pushing himself into your life. That's him trying to show up as a covering of safety. Because 1 Corinthians 13:7 says, love always protects. Well, let's see. Let me read this. For a partner whose love language is acts of service, the 5 love languages, right? This intention is the primary dialect of love, involving identifying what task stress them out and anticipating their needs, covering needs and safety. Now you got to be, watch this, you got to be healthy enough to receive help, because a lot of times, and I don't mean to go psychological with it, but a lot of times women find your whole identity in being the solution to every problem, being superwoman, not needing any, being able to get it all done by yourself. And so when you get a man that wants to show up and he wants to cover and help in the areas of need in your life, you reject it because you want to do everything. You worn out, and somebody made you believe that this is what, womanhood, exceptional womanhood is about. It's about being everything to your husband, your children, your mama, your brothers, your sisters, the people on the job, the people at the church. You got to keep all of these balls in the air. And then God gives you a man that says, let me help you. And you feel like it's a degradation to the quality of your womanhood to be in a position where you receive help. Number 5, the intentional man confirms his intentions definitively. It's not no mind reading thing where you trying to figure out, well, is this leading to marriage? Does he like me? How does he feel about me? No, 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 no. He confirms his intentions definitively. He verbally and behaviorally defines the relationship with courage. You'll make a statement like, we've been dating a while and it doesn't take me long. I already know that you are the kind of woman I prayed for, and I believe that you're my wife, and I want you to pray about it, and I want you to let me know what are your thoughts, but I really feel like you're my wife. And now you're going to have to go back and be healthy enough to comb through all of that low self-esteem, all of those lies that former demons put in your head about you, and all of that, all of this idea that he's boring, and all of these soul ties you still haven't been delivered from. You got to get through all of that. But he's going to confirm his intentions definitively. Now, how you respond is going to be based on your personal health, because some of you have let great men go because you were not healthy enough to receive such a definitive declaration that you are the one I want. You're used to dealing with men that just keep you guessing and keep you on skates, and you're surfing. You're never on solid foundation. But this is the decisive move from private interest to public declaration. You're the one I want. I know it in my heart, so I'm saying it out my mouth. Public purposeful pursuit. This is where ambiguity is replaced with committed clarity. And this is the guy that many women are afraid of and run from. See, this is who I was when I came back to Lisa. Y'all know my story. We had been dating. We were very young. Let's be clear about that. Well, no old man out here wasting up an old woman's time. We were both were very, very young in our 20s, and we dated for a number of years. I got to this point where I said, I don't think I want to be married. I think you should move on. She was in her mid 20s. And she moved on, got a new boyfriend. And, I didn't move on to another woman. I really moved into just a real closer relationship with God in pursuit of congruency spiritually from the inside to the outside. And after a while, God and my mama gave me clarity that Lisa was my wife. And so when I came back, hoping that she would hear what I had to say, she was in another relationship. I said, you're my wife. I was definitive. I had never been definitive before. You're my wife, and I want to marry you. And I want you to think about it. And so she said, yes. And it didn't take long. I don't know how long it was, but it was maybe a couple of months. We were married. We spent $300 on our wedding. I wasn't trying to impress nobody. $300. We had Sunday night service. I preached. Then after service, my dad came and my dad married us. And church was full because it was church. And family came and all that. We had $300 wedding. And then we went. I was so definitive that I had a little bachelor's pad that when she said yes, I sold it. I sold it to be able to buy our family home. I didn't want to bring her into this little bachelor's pad. And so we left from the wedding, the little $300 wedding, to our brand new house. Because when a man is intentional, he's definitive. Not all over the place, not, and I don't know how some of y'all with these men at midlife and even older, just I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to figure this out. Man, do this by yourself. Do this by yourself. Because, hey, man, number one, you don't need to be in a relationship to be happy, nor do you need to be in a relationship to be successful or purposeful. You can do all of those things by yourself. You don't just need to have a man around that's not clear, not sure, unless that's the kind of life you want to live, or it's just, it is undefined. Maybe that and I guess y'all are equally yoked. But if you desire clarity and you desire certain things, you should never settle for a man that's not giving you definition. Ephesians 4:1 says, I therefore, prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called. Let your behavior align with the call of God. Pursuit of marriage is a high calling requiring integrity. You cannot be definitive without integrity. Anybody that is not in that does not have a heart of integrity cannot be definitive. Matthew 5:37 says, let what you say be simply yes or no. So his intentions must be clear. John Maxwell, law of intentionality states, growth doesn't just happen. A healthy relationship also doesn't drift into clarity. It is intentionally led there through decisive action. So if a man is unclear, in the dating process and you got to almost talk him into marrying you, he's going to be unclear the rest of your life because he's not an intentional man. And then number 6, and finally, the intentional guy creates space in his life and in his community for you. You'll never get to a point where you have to ask him, when am I going to meet your family and friends? Here you all been dating for a year. You haven't met his mama? You've met none of his friends? You don't think that, babe, come on now, y'all got to use some common sense at a certain point. You don't think that that's a red flag on fire? You've been dating this man a year, assuming, because he ain't even told you, that y'all exclusive. And you haven't met his mama, you've not met his friends? There's no definition to this? An intentional guy creates space in his life and community for you. He purposefully integrates you into his world. He introduces you to his core relationships, friends, family, church, etc., and adjusts his priorities and schedule for you. This proves you are not a compartmentalized interest, but a priority being woven into the fabric of his future. And the Bible says this in Hebrews 10:25, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. This is where the Bible talks about, forsake not the assembling of ourselves together. A godly relationship is nurtured in community, not in isolation. Any man that keeps you in isolation is either lying to you or he has intentions of abusing you. A man that is intentional about you being his wife integrates you into his community, and he integrates into your community. Your person does not separate you from your people. In other words, he's not going to separate you from your mom, your siblings, your best of friends. Some of those friends you should have got rid of a long time ago, honestly. But your real friend, he's not separating you from anybody. But you, as you grow, will separate from some people. But it won't be his doing. He's going to integrate you. Now, my prayer today is that something I've said has resonated with you. My prayer is that you will change your approach to how you interview men. Because that's all a date is. A date is an interview. You got to stop dating with the mind that you're going to have sex. Dating is not for sex, sweetheart. Sex is for marriage. Dating is for interviewing. Learning who a person is. You don't date because you have personal needs that you want this person to fulfill. You go to God and a good therapist for those things. My prayer is that you will begin to recognize and pay attention and grow beyond some of the mistakes you've made in your past. That's my prayer for you. Now, if you by chance have need of counseling, you're saying, Bishop, I've made so many mistakes and I'm dealing with some things. There's a link for BetterHelp Counseling. You can talk to someone by phone. You can keep talking to different counselors until you find one that really suits you and fits you. If you use the link in the description, my link, it will afford you 10% off of the cost of their counseling. And they in turn will make a deposit into RcBlakes Ministries because I recommended them. Thanks to all of you who might have sown into our lives tonight. Thanks to all of the moderators. Thanks to you who are part of the Royal Court. We had an amazing Zoom call. last Sunday night, or if you're watching this in real time, yesterday. And if you've not joined the Royal Court, you should. It's an amazing community for nothing. Cost of it is really nothing. And you should join. I mean, it's amazing women from all parts of the world and the country that are part of the Royal Court. And we have an exclusive playlist just for Royal Court where there's content that's just for them. And so we'd love to have you. Now, don't forget to go to Amazon or rcblakesstore.com, pick up all of my books. That's a way to support the ministry. Those of you that may want the On Top Going Higher hoodies or t-shirts or even Lisa's shirt, okay, that thing is all over the place. I think they even have hoodies now for that. Go to rcblakesstore.com. Now, what am I missing? Oh, this is what I'm missing. You want to right now, this is going to be here like in no time. In June of 2026, we are going to Italy, like we just got back from South Africa. People were trying to go to South Africa a week before we left. But once the spots are filled, they're filled. It's like there's a certain block that we can get. And beyond that, you know, and Italy is just like such an amazing tourist destination. I don't want you to be one of the persons that saying, I wish I could go. Why don't you register for the Italy trip now? And maybe you can afford to pay it all out, but register now. And let Lisa and I see you in Italy in June of 2026. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with you today, and my prayer is that that you got something out of what we talked about. I'm trying to see where my music is at. And that you know that you're on top and you're going higher. I'm RC Blakes saying to you again, see you at the top. Love you.
My queen, my queen. Oh, she. Oh, she. Beautiful, wonderfully made. She's heaven's angel. So strong, even in struggle, yeah. When life comes like a storm from every angle, she rises above it all, the backbone of every home. Nothing compares to all she do. The true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Malcolm and Obama, yeah, and Jesus too. Oh, she's sophisticated, strong, simply amazing, humble, honest, and helpful, educated, ebony, eccentric, empowering. She's a queen, she's a queen. Better treat her like a queen. Oh, oh, oh. Her strength is amazing. Life inside, 9 months she's carrying back to work, 'cause the family she's carrying. Society don't give her just due, but she prevails and stands tall, a champion.